want to share a story with you. A story from our small town about a family not so different than yours and mine, except that they're faced with a significant challenge. This is a story about how they're responding to this challenge and how families in our community are helping them meet that challenge.
Well, I originally went to Portugal to work with InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. I was working with college students on campus there, and Abilio had been a student involved with the organization and had graduated from one of the local universities.
It was really nice meeting her, and we had common friends, so we met each other that way.
I think what attracted me to him was, along with being very tall and handsome, tall, dark, and handsome, was he's a very concerned person. He's very spiritual, and he's somebody who really looks into what's going on in people's lives and cares about how they are.
It was really nice meeting her. Blonde, blue eyes, elegant. It was beautiful.
It took 6 months for him to finally ask me out, and we went out to dinner one night, had a great time, a lot of laughter. And when we started dating, he informed all of his friends and family, and I was really surprised to have people calling and congratulating us. We got engaged 6 months later, and what was really funny was that in Portugal nobody cared, because everybody assumed from the very beginning that we would get married. We were married 6 months later in the summer at a place called Quinta do Sobral in Portugal. His family was there, my family and some friends from America came over, and it was a very traditional Portuguese ceremony in that it lasted all day long, and it ended up being a really wonderful day, a wonderful, beautiful experience for both of us and for both of our families and our friends. About a year and a half later, I got pregnant. I had been working, and Abilio had his business and was working. We were really excited, as I think most couples are, with the first pregnancy, and a lot of planning went on. We were excited when it came to choosing names. We both had chosen the same name for a boy, which was really funny.
Halfway through the pregnancy, they found out some devastating news.
At 20 weeks, that's usually 20 weeks is when you go in and you have the ultrasound, that they can finally, or even a little bit before, but that's when you find out if it's a boy or a girl. And I was all excited to find out, is it going to be a boy, is it going to be a girl? We were, you know, kind of battling out over which it was going to be, and so that was what I was really focused on. And people all the time say, it doesn't really matter as long as the baby's healthy, and I had never paid attention to that. But we were so shocked when, after a half hour, an hour, we were still having the ultrasound being done, and that's usually a sign something's wrong. Well, we left and we were headed home and a little bit in shock, and our doctor called us while we were still in the car on the way home to say what was seen is a sign that something is wrong on a serious level, that most likely it's something congenital, and there needs to be some further possible testing.
And they took further tests, and they told us that something was really wrong with the baby.
And that was when we found out that Lucas has this chromosome disorder.
So the doctors basically prepare us that the baby would die, because with all the data they had,
just everything pointed to it, to Lucas just not having a chance. We knew that there was something wrong, that there was evidence of it, but for us that didn't change the fact that we were his parents and we were going to care for him. And my feeling was that I'm his mother. It's my responsibility to take care of him the best that I possibly can. And I can't do everything for him. I can't save him, but I'm going to do everything I can for him while I can. And this may be the only opportunity that I have to be his mother. My prayer constantly was that I would get to hold him, that I would get to see his face, and that somehow he would know that he was loved.
And amazingly, the baby was born, was really tiny, small, but he did survive against even the doctors. They were really surprised that he was able to survive that until that day.
There were days when we were very hopeful and excited because he was alive, and there were other days when we were very frightened and just didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what would happen.
We named him Lucas. Was something really important for us. Give him a biblical name.
Lucas was born with so many severe disabilities and so many complications that even the doctors had all but given up on him.
He had only been home for a week when he stopped eating, and that week we had to actually have a feeding tube put into him. And so just that not knowing what to feel at that point in time. Was this the beginning of an end, or was this just a temporary problem, we didn't know what to think, and the doctors honestly didn't know what to tell us because it was their first time seeing a child like Lucas. As far as we know, he's the only case internationally. It's that rare. And it means that he has a lot of developmental disabilities. He was very, very small. He had a lot of difficulty eating. He did very well, all things considered, but the doctors did not expect him to survive.
Anytime somebody meets Lucas, they immediately fall in love with him. He's got a really cute smile, and just his mannerisms are just incredible. He'll laugh, he'll stick his tongue out at you, he does raspberries to people. It's hysterical. He's a really neat kid.
There's just something about him, that his smile, his eyes, the way his eyes smile when he looks at you, and he just exudes joy. It's just amazing. It just comes out of him, and he spreads it to other people too. And so other people who think that it's great to come into contact with him once or twice, for us to get to be with him all the time is amazing.
The way he is so grateful, smiling all the time, you know. He doesn't know that he is a kind of special needs boy, he doesn't know that. But he knows that he's happy. He's very happy, he's very grateful, and he's very peaceful. And I can learn that looking at this is what the gospel is about, you know? Be grateful, rejoice all the time.
For us, there isn't anything as such as just jumping in the car and running to the store, or just jumping in the car and running to the park.
Lucas is far too big for a stroller, so in order to go anywhere, he needs his wheelchair, which supports his spine and keeps his upper body from compressing. Both Lucas and his wheelchair need to fit inside the family car, but the arrangement is not safe nor comfortable.
When we get the wheelchair in, if somebody's sitting in the back seat, their knees are either crunched, or the person sitting in the passenger front seat, they're getting stabbed with a part of the wheelchair that sticks out, that controls his headrest, that we can't remove. Lucas, to get him in and out of that van without his brace on, it takes a good 15-20 minutes to get everything situated.
Another 10 minutes or so to get Lucas into the car. And then afterwards, getting Lucas out of the car is a lengthy process. We don't go anywhere that we don't have to go. There aren't really any quick trips. It means that if we just wanted to go to the grocery store, there's an hour of just getting Lucas in and out of the car.
Because the wheelchair is not secured down the way that it should be, there's a potential that, you know, of serious injury or even death if they were to get in a serious accident, because that wheelchair right now is locked in place and held with bungee cords. Even when I turn the corners to take him to school or to an appointment, sometimes the wheelchair's sliding, you know, back and forth. It's not safe. And then poor Gabriel in the back seat, the little guy's back there, he's just trapped. If, you know, I would hate to think what would happen if they were to get in a serious accident with that baby back there. What this family needs more than anything is a properly equipped van that will work with transporting Lucas safely in his wheelchair, and also for the safety of their son Gabriel.
A local mom, Karen Bergen, realized that the situation with the wheelchair and Lucas was unsafe, and she decided that it was time to take the matter into her own hands.
When I first heard this story, I said to myself, how hard can it be to get this family a van? Now, you've heard all the complexities of the story, and you've gotten to know Lucas and his family a little bit. Please put the safety and the convenience factors aside for a second. Let me explain to you the health issue that's underlying all of this. Lucas has scoliosis, very, very severely. He has a greater than 60-degree curvature of the spine. When Lucas is in his car seat, he literally has to be squished, for lack of a better word. And when this happens, what that means is all of his organs on the right side of his body are compressed, primarily his lung, which makes it almost impossible for him to breathe. So when I heard this, and I coupled the health issue along with the safety and the convenience factor, I knew I had to do something to get this family a van.
This is not something that the family has asked for. This is something that Karen Bergen saw, moved to action, and inspired others.
Bottom line is this: there's a need. And there are needs all around us if you really take the time to look around and stop and listen. They don't all have to be large fundraising endeavors, but that just happens to be what this one is. We're inviting people to get involved in a van for Lucas. I mean, ask yourself what you would do if this was your son or your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your grandchild. Wouldn't you want people to rally together and help?
We're asking you to join us to do two things. One, share the story of Lucas and his family. And two, help us raise $40,000. Your efforts to share the story with others will help them understand the needs that Lucas and his family have, and together we'll raise the $40,000 for the wheelchair van.
So join us in a van for Lucas. I promise it will be the ride of his life.